Welcome back live on the Hill this morning. You know, there's a new book out by New York Times bestselling author Doug Wead. It's called Inside Trump's White House. Wead is the author of dozens of books, interviewed 6 presidents, and spent nearly 2 years inside the Trump White House. And we're happy to welcome Doug Wead on the Hill this morning. Doug, a lot of people have written a lot of books about this administration, but when you take either Michael Wolff or you take Bob Woodward, they came out with books that showed a White House really coming apart at the seams in some ways. You did not find that. What did you find?
I didn't find that. And my book is very different from theirs because it accesses primary sources. I sat down with Ivanka and I said, you know, in a couple hundred years, when you're gone, your grandchildren are gone, they're still going to be writing books about Trumps. And it's only what the primary sources say, not anonymous sources, that matter. And I found it very different. I found it more calculated than I expected. The chaos is calculated. One
of the big questions about Donald Trump becoming president was always what happens if you take a businessman's model, plug him into a White House. Has that worked in its bones? I'm talking about. I'm not talking about style. I'm not talking about whether you not like Donald Trump or not. I'm talking about his organizational style. Does it work for him?
I think it's been transformational. It does work for him. Bismarck said that politics is the art of the possible. But Donald Trump is a businessman, and he taught in his own book, you take on the toughest project first, then you go to the next toughest. The exact opposite.
So would it be fair to say that the models of other White Houses would not have suited Donald Trump because he was a businessman and he was used to a different style of delegating throughout his organization?
Absolutely. He blows up NATO. The media goes crazy. Critics from the Pentagon come in and lecture him like he's a little child. He rebuilds it, raises $130 billion. NATO's stronger than ever before. He blows up NAFTA. He said to me, conservatives say I'm not a free trader. NAFTA is 17,000 pages long. The Bible is 1,000 pages long. It doesn't take 17,000 pages to write free trade. He blew it up. He rebuilt it. Mexico, Canada, America like it better.
One of the things he also blows up, though, is his personal relationships with some of the people on his own staff. You look at where he is with John Kelly. You look at where he is with John Bolton right now. Jim Mattis has not had exactly glowing things to say about his time in the White House, and Lord knows Rex Tillerson doesn't either. But yet there is this core of Trump loyalists in this White House. So which is it? Is he this chief executive who alienates his closest people, or is he somebody who incites this kind of loyalty amongst his top staff?
Tom, it is just extremely complex, and it's very different. He operates differently. He knew that John Bolton didn't like him and opposed him on all these issues. He brought him in anyway because he wanted to argue. He wanted to hear his opinion, make a tough decision. Jared Kushner said to me, there are 2 kinds of staffers on the White House staff. Those who want to help Trump save the world and those who want to save the world from Trump. And they're trying to put the thread through the needle.
Doug, there's a variable coming up for this White House that they haven't experienced yet, and we've seen it before here in Washington. It's a presidential administration in the midst of a re-election campaign. Sometimes, very oftentimes, that creates friction between the campaign and between the White House staff. So how do we have this unconventional administration now? What do you see moving forward into 2020 as to how they operate with a campaign? Are they at odds, or is this one seamless operation?
I think it's much more seamless than it was in 2016. If they could survive 16, they'll sure be able to thrive on 2020. They're close. The Trumps text each other all day long, the Trump family members. They stay close together. Ivanka says, I refuse to be bitter. I can't function unless I'm happy. I choose to be happy. And that's the way they operate.
Do you think if they get to a point where Donald Trump does get reelected, that we see a different tone in him, broadening out his base, not needing them anymore if he's not going to be reelected, and that we possibly could see a different Donald Trump in a theoretical second term?
I don't think he's going to change. But I predict if he does win reelection, he will be an incredible second termer. Most of them die in their second term. I think he's going to take it to the mat.
Always trouble in the second term. Doug Wead's going to join us on the Fox 5 On the Hill podcast, dropping tomorrow. For now, we want to thank you for joining us, as always, here on Fox 5. Enjoy the Super Bowl later on today. Fox News Sunday with Chris Wallace coming up next right here on Fox 5.